I've been in love with Jesus for a very long time, but for me this year it was deepening. I was going for a more systematic Eucharistic practice. So this is when you go to Mass. I'm Orthodox, so I go to Orthodox Mass. And you take the body and blood of Christ into your being, which is not the same as to say you eat bread and you drink wine. That's the evangelistic approach. But actually, as I'm a big fan of rituals, as you might know, for me, I feel very strongly the magic power within that Christian ritual. I believe is one of the most powerful rituals on the planet because it actually transforms in a subtle manner the actual physical bread and wine into the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. There have been a bunch of Eucharistic miracles, and if you are curious about what I'm talking about, then you can research a bit about this. Lots and lots of stuff, even things where blood would appear within the Eucharistic bread, and they would check it in the laboratory, and it would be this strange situation that it would be from a male, but only the Y chromosome, because there's only one parent kind of thing. Like, it's very wild. You need to read it yourself. I don't want to mess it up now. But yeah, very, very interesting how these things work, you know, and it's very much aligned with what we talk within this yoga school when we study about the godly magic, when we learn to do proper rituals that lead to actual miracles. Like, that's the outcome of a ritual. It begins with synchronicities, as we know, and then it leads to miracles. And somehow being in this context of taking the Eucharist quite often, like going nearly every weekend and receiving the body of Christ. And in the Orthodox Church, you need to prepare yourself, you need to fast, and you need to somehow inwardly prepare also through confession. So it's like a whole thing. It's like tapas. And to again and again and again eat this piece of human body. If you have the transfiguration in the ritual, then that's really what it is. And then letting that piece of human flesh and blood somehow transform the entire being into someone new, into that being who gave that blood and that flesh, which is basically, and this is how Greek also refers to him, the godly model, like a perfect human who did everything without any flaw and just perfectly aligned to the soul, perfectly aligned to the self. So it's quite a powerful practice for me, and it encouraged me to get into a specific kind of prayer, and especially when we had our August retreat, I was focusing a lot on praying to Jesus to manifest his miracles and to somehow remember that that was his thing, right? It's not like he did a lot of push-ups or something. That's how he was impressive. But the thing that people knew that he comes from God is because he did miracles, right? And this is with many saints, the situation that we correlate the presence of the godly reality, of the ultimate reality. We correlate with these miraculous occurrences. So somehow with occurrences that go beyond the usual ways of the natural laws somehow. And to remember that, okay, you know, we can be close to Jesus in the way that that everybody described, and it's very true. And if we can be this close to him, and he is the guy who's all about miracles, then why not ask him to perform miracles inside of my being, like all the time? And I was very touched by what you were sharing, Larissa, because it's basically going in that direction, right? Like healing, miracles. And yeah, I felt also what you were sharing, Fiona. And I felt very much inclined to not shy away, to actually relate to what is not aligned in my being right now, whatever that might be. If I feel tensed or stressed or if I feel hateful thoughts, or if I feel lustful, or whatever my current inner state might be that agitates me and that brings me out of connection with God, then just to pray for Jesus to come and to perform a miracle in me, right? To miraculously dissolve that somehow. And I feel this is how the path through Jesus actually works, because like one thing is, of course, the surrender, right? But what are we actually surrendering to? We are surrendering to the faith that he can just make a change, right? And it's like we are surrendering to the faith that he can perform a miracle inside of us now, on this specific aspect, on this specific aspect, on this specific aspect. And that was quite interesting for me. And as a beautiful synchronicity in the, I don't remember which month exactly it is, Mona would know because she brought me in contact with this. But shortly after the retreat, like a month and a half later or something, we started to do a big tapas within our yoga school that I know many of you are also part of, with a new godly attribute that is not yet fully exemplified, but we somehow ended up having a permission and integration to work with this godly attribute, and it's called the godly attribute of the godly causal mana, which is okay, we can say a lot of things about it, but it is basically the godly attribute that, when accumulated within the being, creates miracles. So I've been starting to work a lot with that godly attribute, and I felt it was somehow like a direct answer to this continuous request and prayer to offer me miracles. That just knowing, look, I know you can perform a miracle inside of me. Will you please do that with this thing, with this thing, with this thing, with this thing? And somehow I noticed this created this openness towards this godly causal mana, this frequency of the universe that induces miracles. It's like a part of how the universe is built, that miracles can occur and shall occur in the name of God, right? So for me, that was very, very, very beautiful integration that I wanted to share with you guys, like a feeling of a direct answer somehow to my prayers.